Hello guys, this is Lori from LM's Crafty Creations here with part 2 of my design team video for Country Craft Creations and my Authentique Harvest Folio. So in the first video we did the cover and the chipboard, and here's the inside. So what I've done since the video is I went ahead and added my paper to cover the inside of the chipboard. And my paper started tearing on the spine here when I, like I said it would do in the last video, when I went in here and tried to get the paper into my gussets, it started tearing a bit. So all I did is go in and add a strip of packing tape down the middle to cover up where it tore and just to give it some more stability. So it did kind of wrinkle right there, but this part's not going to show. I'm just going to cover that with pattern paper anyway. So, so anyway, I went and covered, I cut the piece to 8.5 by 6 1/4. And on this side, I did 8.5 by 11 sheet. And then, I don't remember what this was. This one is 6.5 by 8.5. And this is another 6 1/4 by 8.5 is what I did. So that is all that I've done since the last video. So now what I'm going to do is I've already put together my cover. So I'm going to show that to you guys. Here is what is going to be on the front. And what I have done here is I made a pocket, and I need to put that in the measurement. So I would have cut my pocket at 4 1/4, and I would have scored on the 4 1/4 inch side at a 1/2 inch on each end, and then at 4 3/4 and scored at a 1/2 inch on the 3/4 inch end. But I'll make sure and include that in my measurements. And so I did this pocket, and I just put this cut apart on top of the pocket. On the inside, I took this Graphic 45 tag. This came with the ATC box that I had made, and I didn't use them for that, but I thought they would go really cute in this book. So I just cut a piece of pattern paper to fit, and then tied a little seam binding around it, and it goes right in this pocket. Now on this is a sticker from the collection, and I just added 2 brads that look like buttons to that, and I backed it in cardstock and glued it down. I did do my metal corners here on the ends, and this is a piece of like lace trim from countrycraftcreations.com. I love this trim. It goes perfect with fall themed albums. And for my flowers here, these are 2 Prima burlap flowers with little bling in the middle. These are they're burlap. There's 3 smaller Petaloo burlap flowers with the little pearls. And this flower I made using my Stampin' Up! Punches, and I inked them. No, I didn't. These came from, let me show you. Whoops. These came from this bag, and this is just plain flowers from Michaels. And so I just took these and I inked the bottom 2 flowers with my Tim Holtz Distress Stain, and then the top flower I just inked with a green. And then once the green dried, it was really bright, so I went over it with my Distress Stain again to kind of give it that washed out look. And then I went over it again with my Wink of Stella pen. So if you could see, there they are. That's what I did there. It's not a great shot of it, but so anyway, I'm going to adhere this down to the cover right now. So I'm going to use score tape wherever it went. Here it is. Along the edges. And I even put it, I used a lace to adhere my score tape instead of glue. Wait, that didn't make sense. I used score tape to adhere my lace instead of glue. Now there we go. I'm a little backwards today. And it seems to have worked out really well. It's really holding it down. So there we go. I'm just going to burnish this a bit. And I think I'm going to stick some glue on the inside. Not too much, just a bit. And I'm going to adhere it down to the front. And get it nice and even. And stick it down. The other thing bad about putting glue on it when you already have the embellishments is that it's hard to really burnish it and get it to stick down really well. But I think that looks really good. Really pleased with that. Okay, so for my spine, I'm going to go ahead and mat, and I'm not going to mat the whole book in this video. I'm going to do the outside, and then I'm going to do the inside covers, and then we're going to put together the pages. So my spine here is already inked and everything, and it's going to go right there. And I am going to use my glue to glue that down. So it's going to go here. And I don't really worry if the glue gets, seeps out a bit, because it just dries clear and it's just no big deal. Some glues, they dry and they're sticky, and this one does not. So there is my spine. And now we're going to do the back. And I am going to use my tape again for the back. I'm going to remove the tape backing. Add a bit of glue to the inside. And we're going to stick it down on the back. Make sure we get it pretty even. And there we go. Perfect. Now the only thing we need to do is add our smaller spines, and I'm going to do that with glue. Trying to get this in frame so y'all can see what I'm doing. Making a huge mess, that's what I'm doing. Burnish this a bit. Perfect. Now we're going to do the other side. Same exact way. And then I'm going to go ahead and move on to the page construction. I think you'll find that the pages in here are really pretty simple and easy to put together. So there we are. There's our 2 3/4 inch spines. There is the cover, 1.5 inch spine, and the back. Looking good. Okay, so let's set this aside and go ahead and put our pages together. And I have them kind of put together for you guys. And let's see. Got my little measurement cheat sheet here. On the first page, let's see. Oh yeah, this is page number 1. So what I have done, where's the back of this page? Seem to be missing something, which means I stuck something together where it shouldn't go. Sorry, just one moment. Because I know I had them all cut out. Or maybe, oh come on. Okay, we're going to do these first because I don't know where the other part of this went. It's not all there, so we might have to cut some, which I didn't want to do. Okay, anyway, let's start. This goes here, this goes there. Maybe I'll find it along the way. Oh well, okay, here, we'll start with this. So, here we go. For the base pages, what I have done is I cut 4 pieces at 6.5 by 9.5. 4 pieces at 6.5 by 9.5, and then 4 pieces at 6.5 by 8.5. On the 6.5 by 9.5, I scored on the 9.5 inch side at 1/2 inch on each side, and then I glued the 6.5 by 8.5 piece to make my base page. So there you go. So for the first page, you're going to attach a top flap that opens this way. So you're going to cut this piece. You actually need 4 of these top flaps. So you're going to cut 4 of these at 6 by 7.5 inches, and you're going to score on the 6 inch side at 1/2 inch. No, 7.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. And I'm going to go ahead and burnish on my score line. And you do not have to miter your corners here. I'm going to add my glue. And I'm going to stick this right in the center of the top, at the very top. Now you can measure to make sure you get it exactly in the center. And I probably will for some of the other flaps that we're doing. Okay, so there's that flap right there. Now we're going to open, actually let's go ahead and attach. We're going to do a vertical belly band on this flap. So this belly band, you're going to need to cut 2 of these at 8 inches by 2 1/4 inches. You're going to score on the 8-inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. Fold it in and burnish. And it's going to go right here, right in the center. And again, I don't really measure, I just eyeball it and get it as much in the center as I can. Just going to burnish that down. Now we're going to lift this flap up and we're going to put a pocket down here, and we're going to need several of these pockets. You're going to need to cut your pockets you need to cut 8 of these at 3 1/2 inches by 7 1/2 inches. You're going to score on the 7 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end, and on the 3 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch. And also miter your corners, of course. We're going to fold on our score lines and burnish. And I'm going to go ahead and apply my glue here. And this pocket is going to go at the very bottom of the page with the flap extended. So it's going to go on the very bottom of this base page right here. And I'm just going to burnish this down. So each side of the folio is the exact same. So I'm going to show you one side, and then you'll just do the other side the exact same way, and then we'll attach the pages. So there's page 1. It's got a belly band on the front, and then it flaps up and has a pocket here. So now we're going to turn this page over. On this side, you're going to have a flap that opens this way and then a pocket down here, and then on the opposite side you're going to have a pocket on this side and a flap that opens this way. So these flaps, you need to cut 4 of these at 6 1/2 inches by 7 inches. You score on the 6 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch. Now we're going to fold on the score lines, burnish, and we're just going to get this right here in the center. So it's actually going to go on the side of the page, but I'm just turning it around so it's easier for me to get it in the center. So I'm going to add my glue. And stick it down here, right in the center. And I'm going to burnish it. Now, so there's our flap. Now I'm going to take my pocket, I'm going to fold on all the score lines and burnish. It's the same size pocket that we put on the other page. I'm going to apply glue to it and stick it down on the very bottom of the base page. There we go. So this is page 1. And I'm going to go ahead and get out page 2 because we want to make sure our flaps line up. So this is page 2. So the front of page 2 is going to go right here, so it's the other side. So you want to make sure this flap lines up with this flap. So we're going to fold. This flap is again same size as this one, 6.5 by 7 inches. You score on the 6.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, and you just make sure you get them even on each side. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to put my glue down here. I'm going to make sure that these line up as closely as possible. I'm going to burnish. Open it up, burnish it some more, and then we're going to put the pocket down here again. So I'm going to take my pocket, fold on the score lines, and burnish. I'm going to add my glue. And I'm going to stick it down at the very bottom edge of this page. Okay, now here we go. We have our 2 flaps that open up this way, and then our pockets in here. So now I'm going to set this one aside because this is page 1 that we finished, and we're going to flip this one over and do this page. So we're going to do this page the same way as we did the first page, except for it's going to have a vertical belly band, which would be this one right here. No, a horizontal belly band. Okay, so this is cut at 6 by 7.5. Remember, I told you you're going to need 4 of these, and you're going to score on the 7.5 inch side at 1/2 inch and burnish on your score line. Go ahead and add your glue. And then put it at the very top, lining it up in the middle as close as you can get it. Now we're gonna go ahead and open that up, and I'll add the belly band in a second. We're going to add our pocket next. I'm going to go ahead, burnish on all of our score lines for the pocket. I'm going to add my glue. And I'm going to stick this down at the very bottom. Just going to burnish it really well. Now we're going to close our flap, and we're going to add our horizontal belly band, which is cut at 7 inches by 2 1/4. You're going to need 2 of these, and you're going to score on the 7 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. Fold on your score lines, burnish, and add your glue or your tape, whichever you use. And you're going to add this as close to in the middle as you can get it. And we're going to burnish. And believe it or not, that is it for our pages. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to give you a quick rundown. So, we're going to have, let's take this, give you a look-see. How this is going to work is on the inside of the folio, you're going to have your first page is going to be attached to this hinge right here. So you have a belly band with a flap and then the pocket. You're going to turn this over. Your second page will attach right here to this hinge, and then this one, like I showed you before, will open this way and you'll have a pocket, and then it'll flip over and you'll have a belly band with a flap that flips up with another pocket, and that'll all be attached right here. You're going to have the same thing, exact same thing on this side. So the first page with the vertical belly band goes on this hinge, and the second page with the horizontal belly band goes on this hinge. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the camera, and I'm going to put together my other pages, and I will be right back, and then we will attach them. Okay guys, I am back and I have put all of my pages together. So now I have both sides. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our cover, we're going to open it up, and I'm going to start on the left side and I'm going to go ahead and put my pages on. So the page with the vertical belly band I am going to put on this hinge right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take my score tape off. And I'm going to open this up right here. And I'm just going to stick it down onto my hinge. And I'm not going to go quite all the way to the score line. I'm going to stop just at the score line and then press it down. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Here we go. And I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to burnish. So on this side we should have the flap that opens up this way. So here I'm going to take my second page with the flap that opens this way, and I'm going to put it on this hinge. I'm going to open up my page. I'm going to stick it down onto my hinge and get it right at the score line and stick it down and burnish. I'm going to burnish on the other side too. You notice on this side we have the flap with the horizontal belly band. So now there's our two pages. So now we're going to put, so now we have, that's one set of pages, and I have the same set of identical pages here that I put together. So now we're going to take the one with the vertical belly band again, and it's going to go on this first hinge. So I'm going to remove my tape backing here. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to stick it down on the hinge. You're going to go right to that score line and stick it down. Now, I'm going to burnish on this side. Then I'm going to take my other flap that goes this way. I'm going to stick it on this hinge right here. Again, remove my tape backing. I'm going to open it up. And I'm going to stick it down right here. Make sure I burnish that really well. Turn the page. I'm going to burnish again. And there you have it. So now, yeah. So you're going to have opposite belly bands. So you'll have this vertical here and this horizontal on this side when it's closed like this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is on this side right here, it's the right cover flap. I am going to do a little envelope. So to make this, you're going to cut this at 6 1/4 by 3 inches, and you're going to score. Where is my scoreboard? Did I say what? I didn't write what you score at. So you're going to score at 1/2 inch and then 1/8 of an inch after that. So it'll give you this gusset right here. Now for our pocket, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut it at 4 3/8 by 7 1/2. You're going to score at 1/2 inch here and then move over and score 1/8 of an inch all the way around your pocket. So you're going to score at 1/2 inch, oops, sorry about that, on each of your 6 1/4 inch sides, and then you're going to move over each way and score another 1/8 of an inch to give you this gusset. Then you're going to turn it, or this way, on the 3 inch side and score at 1/2 inch, and then move it over 1/8 of an inch and score again. So we're going to have kind of a little like box that's going to look like this with a teeny tiny gusset there. And your flap is going to have the same. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to round my corners of this flap. I'm going to use my 1/2 inch corner rounder because I like my envelope corners rounded. So there we go. So now we're going to stick the pocket down first. So go ahead, make sure you fold on all your score lines, and then you should have this gusset here like this, and then there's your flap. So we're going to put glue on the 1/2 inch flap all the way around. And now we're just going to take it and we're going to stick it down at the very, lining it up at the edge of the page. I'm trying to just glue down. I want to keep my gusset there. I'm just gluing down my 1/2 inch part. So there we go. It's like a little box, but it just gives you a little room. And you know what? I want to do a little notch in here. So let's see. You know what? I'll just wait till after I'm at it. But what I would have preferred to do it with my envelope punch board before I stuck it down, but I forgot. So that's okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this flap, and you're going to fold on all your score lines and make sure that when you fold the 1/2 inch flap, you still have this 1/8 of an inch gusset there. I'm going to put glue. I'm going to tuck it right inside the box and glue it down. Now I did miter the corners, and I got glue everywhere, as you can see. I'm just going to burnish. So see, now you have kind of a little box. You can stick a few things in there. It'll be easier to grab them if you have that notch in there. And then we'll have a magnet right here, and it will close and be magnetized for a little envelope pocket here. This side we're not going to put anything on it. And let's go ahead and do the left side flap. Here I'm going to do double stacked pockets, and sorry, I just keep having to clear my throat. It's terrible to listen to, I know. So I already have the mats ready for these. Let me go ahead and paper clip this all back together because I'm not going to mat in this video. I'm going to save that for the next one. Okay, so you're going to cut this pocket at 6 1/4 by 7 1/2. You're going to score on at 1/2 inch at each 7 1/2 inch end and 1/2 inch on the 6 1/4 inch end to make your pocket. Make sure you miter your corners, and your pocket's going to go right here at the very edge. Now it is going to be a stacked pocket, so I also cut this one at 3 1/2 by 7 1/2, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch on each end of the 7 1/2 inch end. And what I'm going to do is they're going to be about like that. So how far did I go down there to give you a measurement? From the top, go down 2 inches and stick this down 2 inches. So I'm just going to mark, oops, right here, just where I have a frame of reference of where I'm going to put. So it's 2 inches from the top. I'm going to put this a smaller pocket down first. So I'm going to put my glue on each end, and I'm going to stick it down right where I marked my pencil marks. And it is as simple as that. Then I'm going to take this pocket and I'm just going to line it up with the very bottom here, and that'll give us our stacked pocket. I'm just going to lay it right on top of the other pocket. Make sure we burnish everything well, get it good and stuck down. Okay, so now we have 2 stacked pockets. Now I'm going to do the inside here. So flip your both pages over, and we're going to take these. So the way this is going to work, this is our closure, and we're going to have like a graduated flap. So here's one flap here, and then this is going to turn, and then this one will turn, and then it'll be our back cover. And it's going to go right here. So your first piece is going to measure 5 3/4 by 8 1/2. You're going to score on the 5 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch, and then just fold on your score line and burnish. You're going to make 2 of those. You need 2 6 1/2 by 8 1/2, and you're going to score on the 6 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch. Fold on your score line and burnish. Actually, this is going to go this way. Then you need an 8 1/2 by 7 1/4 inch piece. You're going to score on the 7 1/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. Fold on your score line and burnish. Then we are going to stack them all. So I'm going to move this book out of the way because you're not going to be able to see with it sitting right there. So I'm going to take my largest piece first and my second largest piece. So I've got this hinge folded in. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to put glue on this hinge and put this right on top of here, right up against the edge. So then I'm going to take the smallest piece, put glue right on top of here, and put it right on top of the one that I just glued down, right at the edge. So now we have this like wallet assembly where I have one page and then another page, and you'll open up and there will be the front cover. So we're going to put our glue on this hinge right here and attach it to the front cover. Or not the front cover, the back cover. Sorry. So I move my pages out of the way and I'm going to attach it right here, and it's going to attach right here against, right up against this gusset right here, the fold of the book. Now I'm going to line it up with these pages right here. So here we go. I'm leaving a bit of space between the page and this gusset right here. I hope you can see. So there's a gusset right there. So it's going to fold open, and I'm going to burnish. And then I'm going to add my closure. So you're going to cut 2 of these by 4.5 by 2 1/4. You're going to score on the 4.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, and then I already rounded my corners. So I'm going to fold on my score line and burnish. I'm going to put glue right here, and I'm just going to fit it right up against this last piece and get it in the middle as close as possible and stick it down. So we're going to put a magnet here and here, and that will be our closure. So there's that side. I'm going to close this up. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Now I have already put together my other little assembly here. So this is already all glued and it opens up. So now we're going to put it on this side. I'm going to try to line all of this up. So I like to open this up here. So now I'm going to fold on my score line for my closure. Oops. I'm going to burnish. I'm going to add my glue. And I'm going to tuck it right under here, just like I did before, trying to get this even with this closure here as much as possible. And I'm going to glue it down. Okay, so there is our base album completely put together, and now we get to do the fun part and decorate. So on to video number 2, we'll take care of all of the matting and anything else that I added for this album. So join me in part 3 actually. Thanks, bye.